Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, guys. My name is Jakad Zaman. Hope you guys are having a fantastic time. I know this is not Saturday, this is Sunday, but I wasn't able to do the yesterday one, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it today, inshallah. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, enjoying yourselves. Inshallah, today's one is not going to be too long. I'm just going to try to answer some of your questions. By the way, Curious Cat is not working, so if you guys have put up questions on Curious Cat for the past few days, I think it's the website has been down. So unfortunately, those questions, they are not going to be answered at the moment until I can see. Okay, so ahlan wa sahlan, welcome, my brothers and sisters. All right, so this weekend was actually a course at Safa Institute delivered by Brother Hamza Zotis, who specializes in da'wah and also dealing with people who have shubhat, shubhat in their beliefs, like doubts about Islam. And it's a very, very beneficial course. Definitely would encourage anyone who wants to deal with this kind of area and so to attend such courses. All right, so Ahlan wa sahlan, Isra Kanda wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Has this been moved to Sundays? No, it's not moved to Sundays, but if you saw the announcements, I didn't mention that. I will try to do it on Sunday for this weekend only. And if you guys are not updated, then check out my Telegram. Yeah, so if you join my Telegram, then you guys will be kept updated about the latest. Aisha wa alaikum assalam. Ambition wa alaikum assalam. Wahid wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Muhammad Mullah, ahlan wa sahlan, my brother. And Mullah, hope you're fully recovered. Thank you very much. A very nice weekend I've had, alhamdulillah, excellent weekend. I met some of the Aston Uni boys as well, mashallah, who came down to the talk this weekend. Kanda, are we supposed to blow on ourselves after making dua? No, you don't have to blow on yourselves. Kasim, wa alaikum assalam. Hope you are well, alhamdulillah. Are you able to interpret dreams? No, I'm not. If so, can I relate to you? Yeah, no, unfortunately. I'm not an expert in dream. I can interpret my own dreams and people I know very well. But for interpretation of dreams, the person must know you very well, like very intimately know you about your situation, about your background, all these kind of things. Did you attend? Yes, I attended. Mashallah, it's excellent. I wasn't there for the full duration. Most of it I was there, yeah, because I had some guests and I was with them. But most of it, alhamdulillah, very, very nice. Daniel, alaikum assalam. When a person joins the Imam in ruku, he should stand for at least a subhanallah, then go in ruku. How long is one subhanallah? Just the time it takes one subhanallah. So you say Allahu Akbar, right, and that's it. You just go into ruku. For like a second or two. MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair, Saeed, for your kind, beautiful donation. My cousin, brother, Saeed, Jazakumullah khair. Hope you are well. Hope you are safe. Jazakumullah khair means a lot, bro. Thank you guys for supporting my channel as well. Alhamdulillah, we are very close to reaching 100,000 subscribers, guys. In fact, let me just check out what's the latest. 97,142. 97,000. So basically, in the next 6 weeks or so, maybe just over 6 weeks, we are going to hit 100,000. So get ready, inshallah. Inshallah. Under the weather, inshallah, bro. Guys, make dua for my cousin Saeed. May Allah give Saeed shifa kamil, put barakah in his time and his wealth, his health. Give him a happy, full of blessing life. Ameen. Maryam, alaikum assalam. Someone told me this. Can you please explain it? I'm a convert, so it's quite confusing. If the meat is from Ahlul Kitab, then there is no harm in eating from it. Muslims are allowed to eat from the slaughter. Yeah, so the Quran says, okay, so basically, Maryam, the Quran says, وَطَعَامُ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابِ حِلٌّ لَكُمْ. The food of the people of the book is halal for you. So the scholars say, as long as the Ahlul Kitab, people who are Jew or Christian, they slaughter the animal, they cut the throat of the animal and let it bleed, then we're allowed to eat their meat. as long as they identify as Ahl Kitab and not as atheists or agnostics. Yeah, so as long as they are people who adhere to a belief system, whether they are fully practicing or not, doesn't matter. They adhere to being Christian, adhere, and they cut the throat, then you can eat their meat. That's correct, Maria. Where can we find the link to your Telegram? The link to the Telegram, my brother Wahid. Let me just put it up for you. Let me just put this up for you. Those of you guys who want to join the link. Right, so here's the Telegram link. Kanda, if one has a bad dream, is it permissible to tell of what happened in the dream? Yes, you can. Walaikum assalam, Kit Sedi, ahla wa sahla. When specifically do transactions become haram on Jumu'ah? So the transaction does not become haram, but the action itself becomes sinful. So the transaction goes through, but the dealing itself is considered to be sinful. Yeah, so that's when the adhan has been given for the Jumu'ah. So when the adhan in your local masjid has been given. Under the weather, bro. May Allah give you shifa. Gandalf, assalamu alaikum. What is the best way to deal with people who burn the Quran? So look, the burning of the Quran is not going to harm Islam in any way at all, right? So whether a person burns the Quran or a person was to burn like a headscarf or a person was to, any of that kind of, doesn't really harm Islam at all. But the thing is, this is considered to be like an act of humiliation to Muslims around the world. This is almost, you can say, like an act of desecration of Muslims' religion. So this is something where Muslims should speak up about this. Muslim countries, definitely the leaders should speak up against this. We obviously do not retaliate. We don't go on burning their books or anything like that. Absolutely not. But we have to remember that it's all about standing up for what we believe in. Yeah. So protesting is fine. The Muslim leaders are the ones that should put a lot of pressure on these countries that do this kind of stuff. Naweed, alaikum assalam. When and in what way is it permissible for the Ahnaf to do talfiq? Yeah, so what is talfiq? You tell me what talfiq is, then I'll tell you. If a man tells his niqabi wife to not wear the niqab in front of someone, i.e. her brother-in-law, but she thinks it would be safer to keep it on, can she disobey? Yes, she can. If someone delayed a wajib for more than 3 subhanallahs in salah, then sajda sahu is necessary. Is the duration of the subhanallah about 4? It depends where. Is it in recitation or standing? So this rule usually applies to when it comes to the delaying of a necessary act. So for example, if a person recites Surah Fatiha, then goes silent for a long time, then that means the delaying of the surah after it has occurred. But if a person was to go silent in sajda for a long period of time, that won't be considered necessarily to necessitate sajda. Benefit a lot from Ajrami Durus, Barakallah Fikum. What is the next step? After that, I would suggest you do, Naweed, is try to read as many Arabic storybooks as you can. Yeah, that is probably the best thing I would say, definitely. Try to read as many Arabic storybooks as you can and try to do something a bit more advanced in Arabic grammar. I've got a course called Sharh Qatr Nadab, but that's a paid course, that's on my uruk.com website. I am male and Muslim, but my younger sister, who is not married, has no religion. Am I still her mahram? Yes, you are. Abi, the niqab, alaykum assalam, brother. Which imam do you follow? As in, are you talking about in fiqh? Yeah, in fiqh, I follow the Hanafi school of thought. Sadi, alaykum assalam wa barakatuh. You're welcome, brother. Zaid, alaykum assalam. Ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan. My brother Zaid. Talfiq is when you use a certain ruling from another madhab. So that's not talfiq. Yeah, talfiq. So taking from another is not talfiq. Talfiq is when you take two rulings that are such that it is causing one ruling to be going opposing what the other ruling is saying. So for example, like in the Hanafi school, we say that if you cut yourself and you bleed, your wudu breaks. But the Shafi say that if you cut yourself, wudu does not break. So that would be an example of talfiq. If a person said, for example, oh, I cut myself, you know what, I'll just take what the Shafi say. No, so that would be an example of talfiq. So it has to be something which is like an opposite to what your madhab says. So the Hanafis say only in times of necessity can this kind of practice be done. Is it correct to say Jazakallah khair? I was told it should be Jazakallah khair. No, it's fine. I mean, Allah, obviously, Allah, He understands all of our, He knows all of our language. So Jazakallah khair is fine. You don't have to say khair. I was once told, on the told once. I was on the told once that in this day and age, you don't even know who is practicing or not. So best to avoid eating the meat of Ahl Kitab. Is this not correct? I have not come across this. I have not come across this. But if you know, for example, like there's an organization that is affiliates themselves towards Christianity, like for example, a lot of people in certain parts of the world, especially when it comes to Europe, yeah, like Eastern Europe, they affiliate themselves to Christianity. That would be sufficient. If someone repeated the Surah Fatiha or Tashahhud twice due to a mistake, would that necessitate? Says that if someone repeated the Surah Fatiha or Tashahhud twice, yes, that would necessitate. What does fi amanillah mean? Fi means in, aman means safety, and Allah is obviously Allah. So then that it means in the safety of Allah. It's like a dua. And is it saying it a sunnah? There's no hadith to my knowledge, authentic hadith in which Sahaba said to each other fi amanillah. But it's fine to say it's like a dua. You're welcome, Abi. Zainab, alaikum assalam. How was the course? It's very good. I honestly think scholars and students of knowledge and just general public should attend these talks. It was very, very beneficial. I benefited a lot from it. Yeah, it talks a lot about how, like, unpacking this whole concept of doubts in Islam and how you approach it and why people have doubts and how he's through his own experience of cases that he's dealt with. It's, eye-opening. Would you recommend it for general public? Of course, definitely. I would definitely recommend it for general public. Can you explain why talfiq, as you explained, can only be done in a time of need? What is the Hanafi reasoning behind it? So the idea basically is, look, following a madhab is considered to be, so first of all, following the deen of Allah, Allah's sharia is considered to be obligatory upon every Muslim, right? We know that. But the problem is a lot of things in the sharia, a lot of people can't get access to understanding what we're supposed to do. Like, for example, what am I supposed to do at the moment? What am I supposed to do if I'm in the Masjid al-Haram? Which side around the Kaaba do I go? How many times? What if I'm going around the Kaaba and I turn around and I do like a 360? What happens? Is my tawaf done? Is it broken? What happens if I don't have wudu or go around the Kaaba? This is where we need an expert's advice. So an expert, like you have to ask a scholar. Now, if you have access to a scholar 24 hours a day, where every single question about Islam comes to you, ask them. That's basically called following a scholar. Yeah, it's called taqleed. So the idea is, better than following one scholar, you follow a group of scholars who are experts in trying to understand the Sharia. So I've done a whole course on this, Hamid. It's a 3-part series. Check it out. It's called The History of the Madhabs. And I'm also doing a series called The Evolution of Fiqh. So check those two out, inshallah. Arabic with Suhail. Alaikum assalam, brother. Suhail, how much effort should a teacher put in with beginner Arabic students? Should the teacher hold catch-up classes? It depends what you're teaching them. What are you teaching them? Is it spoken Arabic? Is it written Arabic? Sheikh, what are your views on using English within the Friday khutbah? I would say it's jais. Do you know if any senior scholars support this? Yes. Yeah. So there's ikhtilaf between contemporary Hanafis about this masla. So I would say it's permissible, but I would prefer to do a lot of it in Arabic. Yeah, prefer to have chunks of it in Arabic and the rest you can have in a different language. Is it the body or the soul which is made of clay? Allah knows best. Zo, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you explain the rulings on mistakes in qiraat in salat? Can your salat be invalidated if you make a mistake? So if you make a mistake in salat, which changes the entire meaning of the ayah into something wrong, then your salat becomes invalid. But if you recite something in salat that does not change the meaning, it's omitting something, that won't necessarily break your salat. And the third, if you change a meaning in salat and it does not have a drastic effect, meaning it does not change the meaning to something totally wrong, there's ikhtilaf amongst the scholars. I would say that for non-Arabs, then there is a lot of scope for that. Yeah, so as long as you don't make a mistake in salat, which is a drastic mistake that sort of like is really wrong, as in it's like Allah is one and you said Allah is three. Yeah, that would nullify your salat. For Maghrib Salah, how long after sunset should you wait? Immediately, as soon as possible. Soon as possible. Don't delay without a reason. You're welcome, Hamid. Naweed, can you self-study Nul Idah with its Shara and what? Yes, you can. You can study any book on your own, but the problem is, how do you know if you're making a mistake in understanding? That's the problem. This is the danger of self-study in anything in the beginning. If you self-study medicine, how do you know what you haven't understood properly? The idea of studying with the teacher is that you eliminate the possibilities of making mistakes. That's the idea. So if you study something on your own, you may be able to grasp it, but you don't know how many mistakes you're making. This is why we have the system of the ijaza system, which is you study by a scholar so much that the scholar now is happy that you've understood this topic. أهلا وسهلا Fresh Prince أحبك الذي أحببتني فيه. Second, if someone has a small patchy beard, are they allowed to shorten some parts even out? I don't know. Allah. I would generally say, look, they should let their beard grow. But I don't know. If you have a short patchy beard, show your beard to a scholar, and then let them tell you. Do any of the four madhahib or scholars allow anyone to make masa on normal socks? Possibly. Yeah, I think the Hanbalis have a bit of leniency in that. You can read Al-Fiqh al-Islami wa Adillatu by Sheikh Wahab al-Zuhairi. So there is some scope in the Hanbali madhab. Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. Sulaiman, I am very well, thank you very much. Are your parents allowed to refuse someone because she is sick to get married because they are afraid I can't handle it? Can I get married without their consent? Okay, so you're a male, yeah? Yes, a male can get married without the consent. Is it's written Arabic? Those who are behind are due to missing lessons. Yeah. So I generally say this. Look, when it comes to Arabic learning, right? For example, reading Arabic or writing Arabic, then students need to attend all the lessons. Right? It's very very important. Otherwise, it really kind of harms their understanding. Try to at least have every lesson recorded, so those who can't attend then catch up with the recordings, something like that. Yeah, definitely in that case, have catch up lessons, because like if you got a course that's 20 lessons long and someone's missed 5 lessons, they've basically missed 25% of the lessons. So in every 4 lessons or every 5 lessons, they've actually missed one. Right, and that is something really bad. Yeah, so if a person has that, then that means that they are not going to understand the subjects properly. So definitely have that. And also I would say things like try to make it as easy as possible for them, like really, really kind of water down the Arabic lessons for them to such a way that they can understand in the beginning, and then later on, once they grasp the initial foundations of the language. Like if you've seen my Quranic Arabic 17 lessons, that's what I try and do there. Is celebrating Valentine's Day haram? Like, when you say celebrating Valentine's Day, are you, for example, like honoring that day? Do you believe that day is magical, special, that it's something that deserves? That's totally wrong. But if you just do something on that day, then that won't necessarily be wrong, unless it's explicitly something which is done by a different religion or, something of that nature. And obviously, you've got to do with the halal person. Came across a post of yours about dream interpretations. Was this course recorded by any chance? You'd have to contact a Sufa Institute. Yeah, so it wasn't done on my channel. It was done by a Sufa Institute. If you contact a Sufa Institute, email them, and then you can find out from them, inshallah. Is the puke of a child considered impure? Yes. Unless the child is just vomits out immediately what they drank, then it won't be. But the method of cleaning the vomit is considered to be a much lighter way. It's much of an easier way. So basically, if the child is still suckling, breast milk or milk, and it vomits, then the cleaning method will be much lighter. You don't have to kind of put your clothes in the washing machine. Just a quick, just little wash of that area will be fine. Should such students be considered non-serious and not given extra attention? I mean, it all depends. It all depends, Sohail. I've had students who have to miss lessons because they're doctors, and some of them are very keen on catching up, and they're very hardworking, and they'll do it. And then I'll get some students who just miss because they lose interest in studying. So it was all up to you. You look at the student, I would say. You look at the student, you decide whether you think that they are really serious about catching up. Can you study Nur Idah if you have already studied Fiqh al-Muyassar and Quduri Ibadat? Possibly, yeah. Possibly. If Nur Idah has got some extra things you're not going to find in Quduri, and you're not going to find, maybe Fiqh al-Muyassar might cover it. You can try it. They look MSP. Don't be scared of reading things yourself. I would say, do not be scared of it. Go for it. You shouldn't have to ask someone, "Can I read it myself?" Right? I don't understand why people ask this question. Just go and read it. Right? Don't go to a scholar and say, "Can I read this on my own?" No, just read it. If you get confused with it, then ask a scholar. But don't consider if you read anything yourself. Right? I mean, when I say anything yourself, I mean any beginner subject. Don't consider yourself to have understood it thoroughly. Yeah, that is a misconception that many people have. Masir Ali, my brother, alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan, welcome, 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 my brother, my brother. Hit the like button, guys. Zob, if praying salah sitting, is it okay to pray cross-legged instead of the tashahhud position? So Hanafi says more preferred to sit in the tashahhud position. Yeah, but if you can't, then sitting cross-legged would be allowed. Is it true that Imam Abu Hanifah rahimahullah did masa on non-leather socks in his latter years? Yes, non-leather thick socks. Non-leather thick socks. Ala wa sahlan, Amjad Ilahi, my brother Amjad Ilahi. What's happening, bro? What's happening? Long time no chaiwala. How do you help others? Or actually, I had a chaiwala yesterday. Yeah, so I was out after the course. I had guests. I was out with them till about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. That's why I couldn't do the live stream, unfortunately. So I had a chaiwala. I went to Alam Rock Road, and chaiwala's packed out. So we went to Green Chai, and actually met one of my my social media friends. Yeah, sometimes you have these friends on social media, you never see them in real life except for like a rare occasion. So mashallah, I met him, and so then we went back to because Green Chai only had pink tea. It's called Green Chai, but they only had pink tea. Long story. And then we went to Chaiwala. We had chai, and then I couldn't sleep. How do you help others or family understand the importance of ilm and how amazing knowledge is? Is this one of your 120 questions? I know it's amazing. I love ilm, but I find myself unable to explain to this. Okay, so look, think of it this way. How do you explain anything that you love to people? How do you explain it? Just think about that. Yeah, so always remember, if it's knowledge, family are not going to understand about knowledge, because it's like, imagine someone's doing medicine. They're not going to be bothered about what you're studying in medicine, right? They can just see you're going to become a doctor, you're going to become famous, well known in your community, you're going to make money. That's the thing that kind of like makes them feel as though it's worth it. You have to show people why ilm is worth it for. Yeah, and I would say you do that. You can do that several ways. One of the ways you can do that is obviously by telling them little sort of snippets of knowledge that you learn. Tell them little things, important things. Get them intrigued. Yeah. And the second thing you can do is probably tell them virtues as well, right? So I've got like the series on virtues of the Quran, 40 hadith, things like that. You can give them little virtues, because the main thing is if you can make someone appreciate the virtues of ilm, right, and show them how it works, a lot of people would appreciate it. Is celebrating birthdays ever discourage Islam? No. Can a person following Hanafi fiqh pray behind Imam who has done masa over normal socks? I wouldn't see a problem. Yeah, I would pray behind him. Is it true that if someone goes to turn off the ringing phone in their pocket 3 or more times during salah, their salah is invalid? Not necessarily. No. If it's necessary, they can turn it off. Yeah. So basically, the rule in the Hanafis have is anything that's for your islah or salat, anything that's for you, even if it's killing a snake in salat. Yeah, the Hanafis have a scope for that. Well, you don't want to kill a snake, but that's the example they give. What would a student completing a Quranic 17 lesson Arabic course be able to achieve? So basically, they are able to understand the major principles of the Arabic language or grammar and start implementing in the Quran. So it kind of like it gives them like a head start in learning Arabic. It gives them a purpose. They understand the structure of Arabic and what's the whole point of it. Because a lot of students that study Arabic grammar, they don't know what the point of it is. Why do some people say don't read Quran translation or it will deviate the person? I don't get it. I don't know why as well. Maybe ask them. I think maybe they're probably saying is because like they don't want people to feel as though they're independent of experts. That's the thing. Someone who doesn't know, someone who just knows Arabic and they read the Quran, they can make mistakes in understanding. Like for example, in the Quran, Allah says, "Kill the mushriks." You think, "Oh, kill the mushriks, right? Let me just go start." No, right. So this is why, if you, I would say, read the translation of the Quran, but don't think that your understanding is the perfect understanding. Always, if you ever get a question, make a note of it, go to a scholar and say, "Look, I read this in the Quran. Can you explain it?" Or you go onto one of these like YouTube playlists where a scholar's gone through the entire Quran. You go to the ayah and then you listen to it. Start, you gotta go farmhouse one day. Yes, my brother. That is just you taking the words out my mouth, bro. Inshallah, I'm ready. I should add it to the list, but it's not on it. Yes, that's a good one. Is it disrespectful sleeping with feet towards the Qibla? As some say, it's not disrespectful as the sick person points his feet towards the Qibla when praying. So the Hanafis, later Hanafis have said putting your feet towards the Qibla without a reason is considered to be disrespectful. The ill person is excused for this. Chai green is really good. We have it in Cardiff too. Ah, it's quite nice. The first time I had it was in Bradford actually. MashaAllah, Sheikh Alam Rock Road is the place to be. Shout out to Kabul Darbar. Alaikum salam. Kabul Darbar is good. And Alam Rock one's good, Kabul Darbar, but the Ladypur Road one is not good, unfortunately. Sorry. Kabul Darbar, guys, it's an Afghani shop, yeah, on Alam Rock Road. If you guys have not been, they have the excellent tikkas, those kind of tikkas with all the piece of meat. I love that. Tikkas with fat, like hot fat, melting fat. Yum, yum. If fard and wajib salah don't count if you pray sitting without a reason because qiyam is fard, why do sunnah and nafil salah count? If done without a valid reason, because a hadith, yeah, because of a hadith. Hadith mentions about the nafil salat being half reward sitting. So because the hadith exists for that, and we don't have any hadith for the fard without an excuse, that's why they say. A government worker came to work at my side yard and left his jacket. I left it there for days, but no one came to claim it. What should I do with it? I do not know how to find the owner. So I would say you just keep it for a while. If they come back, they come back. If they don't come back, give it charity. How could I help people deluded by false sex ideologies such as liberalism or the cults to Ahl Sunnah? So what I would say is go to Sapiens Institute. Yeah. This is what the course that I was at this whole weekend was dealing with that problem. Yeah, it's about all these isms, how to deal with these isms. So Sapiens Institute specialize. In fact, Sapiens Institute has a free look at this, they've got a free service where you can contact them, book with them a one-to-one with one of the experts, and they will help you with their like doubts that you have, questions about liberalism, feminism, all these things. So contact them without a doubt. Without a doubt. Abir Khan, walaikum salam. What would be your advice to first year Alamiya student part time? What I would suggest, Abir, is that if you're a first time Alamiya student, okay, look at this. I'm going to give you a little bit of a long answer, okay, guys, because I haven't given like long answers about Alamiya in a long time. First and foremostly, get a piece of paper, write down, yeah, on a piece of paper, the whole structure, find out the whole structure what the Alamiya course consists of. Try to find out in every year what is taught. Like, you don't have to find out what books are taught, the subjects, yeah. Find out in every year what is taught. Number two, try to ask someone who's a scholar, what's the point of studying all these books? Yeah, that's number two. And number three is trying to find out how much effort you have to put in outside of class in every subject. It's going to take a long time. I know it's going to take a long time, but what it does is it clarifies, it moves the fog out your way. Yeah, because a lot of people that start studying Alamiya course, they do not. It's like they're walking in fog. They cannot see what's in front of them, and every single day they just kind of like just blindly just think, "Oh, I don't know what's going to happen now. I don't know what we're going to do. Why can't I learn surf properly? What's the whole point of surf? What's the whole point of me studying this nahu? Right? When am I going to study usul? What is usul? It's all about giving people definition, and that was one of the things I learned this weekend, which was we don't define things. When you don't define things, when you don't differentiate between subtle things, you cause a lot of confusion to people. Right? If you just say, for example, the example he gave was he showed us pictures of these like berry like fruit, and then he said all these according to you guys are berries, but some of these are poisonous and some of them are edible. And that's what happens when it comes to when people have doubts, they just throw their doubts onto everything. They just like use a blanket statement. And Alimi, of course, a lot of that happens because all these books seem the same. Like if you understand the purpose of each book, how much effort you have to put in, what is expected at the end of it, it just makes life a lot easier, honestly. Hope that helps a bit. For women, what is the purpose? What is the proper way to sit in the shahud? Should toes be facing to the qibla? So in tashahhud, so they can sit like men sit, right? Which is you basically have, um, I've actually done the video in my kuduri. Yeah. So if you check in my kuduri, I think it's Salah. Video it in. Actually, show it in the video. Uh, let me have a check. Yeah, so okay, I think it's called prayer. Okay, prayer method. Is it called prayer method for the ill? No, prayer method for the ill. No. No. Okay, Shukran. Covering the obligatory acts of prayer. Rules of congregational prayer. Congregational prayer. Right, how much Quran? Obligatory acts of prayer. I think it's this one. Is that the one? Optional prayers. Yeah, I think it's obligatory acts of prayer. I think it's this one. So basically, just put it up here. How to pray. So the men they sit on their left foot and they raise their right foot. This is called nasbul al qadam. Yeah. And then you have tawarruk position. Yeah. So tawarruk position is basically where you put your feet to the side. Yeah. So this is the position both are fine to do. Hanafis say for the men the first posture is better, for the women the second posture. So you sit on your left thigh and then you put your 2 feet towards the side. That's called, does that make sense, A? Yeah, I don't know if I can show you guys over here, if you guys can see. It's supposed to be something like this. Aye. Like this. You guys can't see it. Unfortunately, the camera is not very generous today. It's not gonna let you see it. It's called the tawarruk position. Kazma Taz wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sunday, new time, no. It's Qadha of Saturday. Qadha of Saturday. Is dodging knees okay enough for reason for pray sitting? Yeah, if you find it difficult with your knees to go into sajda and keep getting up and down, that would be a valid reason. Is it correct that if I am leading salah reciting loudly and somebody who is not praying corrects a mistake in my qiraat and I take his correction? If I'm leading salah reciting loudly and someone who is not praying corrects, according to Hanafis, you would have to repeat your salat again. Do you have a link for any reading lists for students from year 1 to 3? No, I don't, unfortunately. I need to make one, inshallah. I'll just make a note of that because a lot of people have asked me about that. Make a reading list for Alimia. Yes. NS, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Is working for an insurance company or an insurance broker haram? It depends. What's the exact job? What's the exact description of the job? The important thing is to have a worldview and have perspective, not just of what Alimia is, but who you are, what you want to achieve, what these books are for. Very good. I like that one. Definitely. Idris Shah, wa alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan, Idris Shah sahib, sanga halde khairiyat de. Alhamdulillah, I'm very good. Thank you very much. Hope you're well, enjoying yourself, having a good time. 1 second. Okay. What is the scope of meaning for dhikr or remembrance of Allah, our meditation and reflection? So dhikr is considered to be of two types. You can have dhikr of the tongue, you can have dhikr of the heart, and you can have dhikr of the limbs. Yeah, all those are types of dhikr. But each one is not a substitute for the other. Yeah, so like in the Quran, Allah mentions that praying salat, that's a type of dhikr. Aqimus salata li dhikri. The heart is also a type of dhikr as well, where you're doing the contemplation on the creation of Allah and your remorse and regret about your sins, etc. And also having dhikr of the tongue. A worldview way of looking at things is important, and it's something I wish I had when studying Nahu and others because it puts things into perspective. Very good. So why don't you write 100 must-know works in the Hanafi madhab where you offer a short note on each? That is good, but 100, I mean, I'll write it down, but that is a very long task for me to do. But inshallah, I like what you're saying. 100 important works in Hanafi school. Yes, I like that. I like the idea there. Gandalf, Jazakallah khair. We'll tune in next week, inshallah. Take care, Gandalf. Rahim, alaikum assalam. Ahlan wa sahlan, Sheikh. Hope you are well. Wanted to know when joining congregational prayer and the Imam is in ruku, at what point would I miss that rakat? Do I have to be in ruku? Yeah. So basically, let's say, for example, Imam's in ruku like this. Yeah. And you walk and you join. As long as both of you, your heads are bowed for at least the duration of one subhanallah, you quote the Imam. But if you walked and the Imam got up and you said Allahu Akbar, you've missed the ruku. Yeah. So basically, catching the rakat is when you caught the Imam before he's raised his head. Yeah. So before raising of the head. Daniel, ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan. Regarding buyu, would it be valid if someone asks for a service and once the service was completed, he asked, how much do I owe you? Yes, it'd be valid as long as in the urf of people, that sort of deal is done. So sometimes you might go to a mechanic, you give your car, he fixes it, and then he to ask you the money, and you kind of roughly okay with it. So as long as it's not what they call ghaban fahish, as long as it's not something which you're getting ripped off, you're ripped off in. Otherwise, it'd be considered to be an ijara fasida. A student of Ilm had asked me to request you teach Usul al-Shashi. They find your method. Inshallah. I've actually got on my uruk.com. I've got the whole of Usul al-Shashi. It's a recording, audio recording of my my lessons. But I don't have a drawn out one. Maybe inshallah once I finish, maybe I might do a drawing one. Maybe, I don't know. I'll see. But yes, that is something that I have. Who is that? A student of knowledge by? Give me their name. What is the meaning of ha huna? Ha huna means here. Ha, it means like to call attention. Ha ha ha. And huna is here. So it's like a bit emphatic. Arham, the aura is disputed, but let's say it's below the knees, covering of the whole knees. Wearing tight clothes exposes the aura. So can one wear compression clothing underneath shorts? Yes, I would say that would be permissible. Oftentimes at university, some other students have joined onto my salah when I'm praying on my own. They expect me to start leading a jama'ah mid-salah. What is the Hanafi? Yes, you can do that. As long as your salats are the same, it's fine. Yeah. Umair, alaikum assalam. Ahlan wa sahlan, my brother Umair. What's the latest, bro? I missed you guys, man. What's the latest? Khair Academy, alaikum assalam. Khair Academy, ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome. Hit the like button, guys. Far English, Sahih International, and are not equal in the living and the dead. Indeed, Allah causes to hear whom He wills, but you cannot make hear those in the grave. Would that apply to those who recite adhan after burial? Yeah. So the idea, the ayah is basically, see, whenever you look at an ayah, you got to read what's before it and what's after it, because there's like a succinct theme taking place. This ayah is talking about those people who disbelieve. So those people who disbelieve and they're not going to accept Islam, it's like talking to the dead, right? The dead can't hear. So when you talk to the dead, they don't hear, they don't respond to you. It's like talking to a wall. Like we would say in today's time, talking to a wall. That's what it's like. So the context of this is this, that they can't hear. However, in Islam, a Muslim who passes away, can they hear if you kind of give them salam or something? So the narration seemed to mention that when you're near their grave, they can sense your presence. They can sense like a feeling of goodness when you give salam or something of that nature, but they can't exactly hear conversation. They can't hear the details of like the words. That's for believers. Been a long time, ahlan wa sahlan. Yes, a very long time, my brother. Khair. Is it true you shouldn't say MashaAllah when seeing others' blessings, but instead Allah barik? I've never come across that. Yeah, saying both are fine. Would that Ahmad R. Alaikum assalam, brother, there is a food delivery service where a person may have to deliver haram foods. Is it permissible? According to Abu Hanifa, there'll be scope for that. As long as it's not the primary thing that he's always transporting. Should women pray Eid Salah in congregation? Is it discouraged? So women are allowed to pray in Eid. However, they should obviously dress appropriately for the not like dress up for like for like with makeup and all that. They should dress appropriately, and they should stand in a place which obviously is separate from the men. It's not encouraged for them to attend. Yeah, according to Hanafis. Is working cybersecurity for insurance permissible? So cybersecurity, I assume it's basically they're just on the computer just to protect their systems from any external attacks. Yeah, is that what it is? If that's the case, then it would be jais. Arham, you're welcome. You're welcome. Idris, it's a family member of mine. Oh, yeah, inshallah, maybe in the future. Maybe in the future. Is marijuana halal? No, it's not. Anyway, guys, so Curious Cat, unfortunately, if you have put up questions on Curious Cat, if you've noticed, has been down for the past 4 or 5 days. Yeah, the website, I don't know, has gone down. So, no questions will be able to access there. So if you have asked a question there and you're waiting for me to answer them this weekend, I won't be able to. Hopefully the website should be fixed. I don't know, in this week. I don't know when it's going to be fixed. And then I can answer those questions of yours. Alternatively, you can ask the questions here. Rahim, our community is Hanafi, and last few years there have been many non-Hanafis or Salafis that have come. When the Imam is off, is it okay for non-Hanafi to lead Salah? The recitation is better. I wouldn't see it as long as you feel they're upright people. The Imam should always be someone that people are happy with, because the idea of the Imam is basically someone who is gonna, bring the people together. It's congregation, isn't it? So it's about bringing the community together. That's why the Hanafis say, if there's an Imam, even if he's Hanafi, and he is gonna cause disunity amongst the congregation, he's gonna decrease the number of people that are gonna attend. He should not lead the prayer. Yeah, he should not lead the prayer. So that's basically what it is. Okay. Sorry, the curse. I don't understand. Sorry, the curse. Did you ask a question before about curse? What are your thoughts on Ilm al-Kalam and studying it? I think it's very, very good. I have studied it myself. Very, very beneficial. It really makes you understand how to counter arguments against Islamic belief. from non-Muslims. Do you personally follow a tariqah? No, I don't. With your Deoband education background, do you potentially follow a Chistiyya? No, I don't follow any tariqah. When teaching Bukhari, should there be more time on riwatan or riwayah, yeah? Or kalam, or a bit of both? Look, I personally have a lot of different sort of like personal views on how books should be taught. I personally think Bukhari should not be taught riwayatan. Alhamdulillah, my teachers went through every single hadith in Sahih Bukhari. And they were very adamant that you understand the book. So I would say that, look, if you're going to study Bukhari, what's the point of studying a third of it and then 2/3 of it you just read just like that? I don't see the point of that. Bukhari should be taught in a very thorough understanding. Yeah, a very thorough understanding. If it takes 2 years to cover, 3 years to cover, we should do it thoroughly, because after you graduate, you are going to have to learn yourself. You're going to have to learn yourself everything that is in the book. That's the problem. And this is where it's obviously going to cause a lot of problem for you, because you haven't got sort of at least like some sort of a understanding of the narrations. So I would say, if you're obviously squeezed on time, a lot of the madaris, they just, unfortunately do that. So I would say at least try to cover as many of the main texts, like the ones that are ghair mukarrar, right, the non-repeated ones, 4,000 or so hadith, and then the rest riwayatan. How can Imam Abu Hanifa allow the transportation of alcohol, but what about the hadith? Good question. So the hadith the Prophet ﷺ mentions about the one that carries alcohol. Imam Hanifa Rahimahullah says that the hadith is talking about anyone who is actively supporting someone to drink alcohol. Like, let's say, for example, you invite people to your house and someone wants wine and you go to the shops and buy him wine. That is the sin. Or you pour it for him in a glass, or you hand it over to him, right? Or you drink it, obviously. All of these are cursed. But simply just for a non-Muslim transporting something, Imam Hanifa Rahimahullah says the transportation is just a ubiquitous action. You could be transporting anything, right? So because you're not solely transporting something to a particular individual, you're just moving it from one place to another. The transportation is what you're getting paid for, and that's why it's considered to be permissible. Amina, ahlan wa sahlan. Mufti, I heard that and read so many stories about conversations between Musa, peace be upon him, and Allah Ta'ala, and also generally between righteous people and Allah Ta'ala. I often wonder why is it okay? I don't understand. So if it's in a strong narration, if it's, so a lot of these stories might be from Semitic texts, biblical texts. Yeah, so you got a lot of these from biblical texts. If they're from biblical texts and they got nothing in there which categorically goes against Islam, it's okay to narrate them. And obviously, if from authentic narrations, then we can. But I don't understand the question exactly. What if two people join as muqtadis when you're praying and you're unaware because you can't see them as they are behind you? So as long as they should inform you. Basically, they should tap you on your shoulder to tell you that they are there. That's what they should do. But yeah, if you prayed and they prayed alongside you and you did everything you have to do as an imam, then it's fine. The congregation will be done. Is everything in Bukhari and Muslim authentic according to those scholars who authenticate hadith, who wrote the books? Then yes. To share, but again, it all depends, Ty. What is your definition of authentic? What do you mean by authentic? That's the question. To share these when their authenticity is doubtful. Yeah, so if you give me an example of something. Atiyah reported we were ordered to come out on the day of Eid when the young girls and menstruating women from their houses. Hanafi position. Yeah, so good question. So, look at this. In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the women used to go to the masjid. Okay, and the Prophet ﷺ said, do not stop women from going to the masjid. Was he saying this for every Muslim until the day of judgment, or was he saying this for his community? So many of the Sahaba understood this for his community. It wasn't for everyone. But how do we know this? Because there were many Sahaba and Tabi'een later on who actually did not, who said that if the Prophet ﷺ was alive now, he would not have allowed women attending the masjid. Yeah, Aisha Radhiyallahu anha says that. Yeah, who's the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when we read a hadith, what we have to understand is what is the context of this hadith? Was this hadith a universal hadith? Was it meant to be for every time without any exception? Or was this considered to be like a statement that was said in a particular day, time, so situation for that? Does that make sense? So the same goes for the Eid Salat as well, and the same goes for other things. Yeah, what I would suggest NS is do my Usul Hadith course, 21 lessons. You learn so much about the history of Hadith. Uthman Ahmed, Ahlan wa sahlan wa alaikum assalam. Rahim, I heard that the whole of Bukhari doesn't mention praying in barefoot. If so, where does praying in barefoot come from? So look, the concept of like praying is there. The concept of having shoes on, like you have to have shoes on, is not a condition. No one considers it to be a condition of salat. No, it's not in the Quran. In fact, in the Quran, Allah says this to Musa alayhi salam when he enters the Wadi al-Muqaddas. He says, "Ikhla'na alayk," take off your slippers because you're in a sacred place. So a lot of scholars have taken from this and from narrations where Sahaba radiallahu anhu prayed, and the Prophet ﷺ took off his slippers in one narration. That praying without slippers is fine. Yeah, totally permissible, and it was a practice of early scholars as well. So clearly they had to have got it from somewhere, even though there's no hadith that says you have to take off your slippers when you pray salat, or you have to have your slippers on when you pray salat. Salam, ahla wa sahla, Uthman. A lot of people say that they regret wasting their time in Ur 1 and 2 and found their year 1 and 2 and made their foundation strong. Okay, I don't know. Is that the end of the question? Is it a statement? Okay, FK, I am really curious as to why some scholars say Eid Salah is wajib for everyone, including women in Hanafi. How come some Hanafi scholars seem more strict than others? No, Hanafi, from my knowledge, Hanafis say, according to Imam Hanifa, they say Eid Salat is wajib for only men, not for women. So I don't know who says it's wajib for women. How come some Hanafi scholars seem stricter than others? Okay, I don't know. I mean, do you have like a text of the Hanafis who say that it's wajib? If you show me that, I can look into it, inshallah. If someone joins your Jama'ah and it's night Salah, do you continue reciting loudly from where? Yes, you have to continue reciting loudly from where you stopped. The different opinion with the madhab. I haven't come across that different opinion. What I mean by authenticity, the words must have been changed by the narrators or what companions. So, good question. So, you're asking the question that is every hadith that has reached us considered to be a riwayah bil ma'na, or is it the exact verbatim words of the Prophet ﷺ? So, more than 50% of the hadith that we have are riwayah bil ma'na. We all know that. Al-Muhaddithin knew that, right? It was basically the Sahaba were telling the people in their own words what the Prophet ﷺ said. Yeah. How do we know if everything the companions saw is true? Yes, so this is a good question as well, and I've explained this in my Usul Hadith course. You can join that if you like. 21 lessons. It's basically the idea is this: if we do not trust the Sahaba, Allah was happy with the Sahaba, wasn't He? Radiyallahu anhum, Allah says in the Quran. Allah was pleased with them. If Allah has said that He is pleased with them, that means that they are considered to be people who were qualified to receive the Quran and pass it on. Yeah, because the receiving of the Quran, passing it on, and its meaning, which is the Sunnah, is also something that was part of it. So if we can't trust the Sahaba, how can we trust the Quran is correct? That's an Orientalist argument, that is. So Orientalists, what they do is they'll try to attack the integrity of the recipients of the Quran and the Sunnah. And this is why the scholars have extensively written in detail about the narrators of 500,000, in fact, narrators have been recorded, and they like very, very detailed points have been recorded about them. Integrity. Sahaba radiallahu anhum, according to Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, udul, kulluhum udul. All of them are upright. That's what our position is. Alim's advice: one, not to waste time in year 1 as they regret wasting time and should make foundation pakka. Advice for a year 1 starting in September. Yeah, so that's what I would say. I actually answered this question earlier. I would say, look, anyone who wants to join, do 3 things. Number 1 is try to map out everything, the whole course, what the whole course is all about, all the years. What subjects are you going to study? And then try to figure out what the purpose of each subject is. Once you understand these, it becomes very, very like it becomes very sort of like you become almost, you can say, conscious about what you're studying. Yeah, and it makes it more enjoyable. Otherwise, you get burnt out. Abid, Assalamu alaikum sahlan. With regards to the moon splitting miracle, is there a response to those who claim Rashid Rida and that unlikely to have taken place? The hadith has said, okay, so the Quran often tells the Quraysh that they will not receive a major miracle despite they're asking for one. Yeah, so this is a good question. So, first of all, this is like a very big topic. So, I'm going to try to sum it up into small points. According to the vast majority of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we believe that miracles happen, right? Because first of all, the Quran is a miracle that no one denies. This is a miraculous text. No one can challenge it, like the Quran has given a challenge to it. So it's miraculous. Number two is, was there miracles that happened in the time of the Prophet ﷺ? So vast majority of the scholars say yes, miracles happen in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. There are many examples for this as well. Like for example, the Prophet ﷺ, who was unlearned, who couldn't read or write, was able to change a whole society and make them into people who could read or write. That is a simple example. This, and then you have other examples where small armies were able to defeat large armies, and then you have examples of where water came out the fingers of the Prophet ﷺ and so forth. Yeah, and not just Prophet ﷺ, but we know in the Quran definitely Isa alayhi salam had miracles. Yeah, 100% the Quran says that he would bring the dead and he would make them speak. Yeah, bring them to life with Allah's permission, obviously. So this is a miracle, miraculous, isn't it? So if we believe in the concept that miracles can happen, that means that if there are narrations with regards to miracles, we accept them. That's why in all the books of Aqidah, it's mentioned without a doubt that we believe in the concept of the miracles. Yeah, mu'jizat, or like in Fiqh al-Akbar, it says bi ayat. We believe in those. Now, what's happened later on is modernists have obviously, modernist Muslims like Rashid Rada and others, Mufti Maraghi in Egypt, they were influenced a lot by Orientalism. And it seems as though they have then sort of like to defend, they try to defend Islam from Orientalist attacks. And they started to say, well, do we have to believe in miracles? Yeah. Do we have to say these miracles happened? Without a doubt, we know in the Quran the snake for Musa alayhi salam turning into a staff and the staff turning into a snake, that was there. But this is the issue, which is when Muslims become so so overawed, I would say, by Orientalism. This is where a lot of them. If you want to read a really good book on miracles, there's two books I would suggest. One is by Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah called An-Nubuwat, and the second is it's in Arabic. And the second is a book which is by Mustafa Sabri. It's a 4-volume book called Mawqif al-Aql. It's a long name, but Mawqif al-Aql, you know it as. And this is basically to do with how rationale works in Islam. To how much degree do we use aql? Do we say, oh, it's not possible for the moon to be split, right? Why is it impossible? Like, does it not come under the possibility of this? Yeah. In fact, there's actually like reports. The historian Sira have actually mentioned that there's reports from non-Muslims that the moon was seen as splitting in the times. Whether those reports we accept them or not, but there's still reports from that side. So the idea of miracles happening is something which, according to Ahl Sunnah Jama'ah, is there. Yeah. The only thing, like we said, is because of the modernists, right? It's only really the modernists that Rashid Rada, and then he was really influenced by his teacher, Muhammad Abdu, and then he was by his teacher Al-Afghani. So that's where the issue really arises. Yeah. So that's the issue. I mean, look, what I would suggest is reading responses to the Orientalists in a lot of things. Orientalists, if we take Orientalists seriously, right? If you take them seriously, you are going to have so many doubts in your religion. That's the thing. And unfortunately, Orientalists, they, first of all, they either do not know the Arabic sources correctly, they read from secondary sources. Number two, Orientalists do not believe in Allah, so therefore, why would they be honest in their conclusions? Right? Why would they be honest? They don't have to be honest. They just have to do based upon whatever their research shows. So they don't have to go towards trying to, trying to see the plausibility of this. That's why Mustafa Sabri's work is a very detailed work on this. I would say it's the best I've come across. Isn't there also an opinion in the Hanafi madhab that each salah is simply sunnah mu'akkada, not wajib? Yes, there is an opinion of that. If a person was praying salah in jama'ah with one muqtadi, if the muqtadi breaks his wudu, can the imam just carry on? So there's an ikhtilaf in this, but I would say the salat would have to be restarted again. Jazakallah khair, you're welcome. One thing about hadith I learned is every sunnah is from the hadith, but not every hadith is from sunnah. Ahlan wa sahlan. Very true. Very true. Mufti, how are we certain that none of the Sahaba can have been affected by forgetfulness? So, I mean, the default state, this is what the default state is, as long as nothing has reached you, then you don't, like the default state is that everyone is considered to be upright unless it's proven otherwise. And because Allah was happy with the Sahaba, we would say that would naturally mean He would be happy with them passing on the deen. Yeah, so that's the idea. So whether it's through their uprightness and whether it's through their dhabt, memory. My second question is about matan criticism. Is there a slippery slope to this? I understand this is only limited to scholars, not laymen like me, but just wanted your thoughts. Yes, of course. This is why like people like Imam Tahawi has written his 16-volume work on Mushkilat al-Athar. So Mushkilat al-Athar is a very good work on the whole concept of ishkalat, and it discusses a lot of matan as well in there. Is it still considered mustahab to bury one's hair and nail clippings? I would say, as long as you throw your nails away in a nice place, clean place, that you don't chuck them away randomly, just keep them somewhere clean in a bin or something. I wouldn't see a problem with that, because everything in the bin is going to be thrown to a refuse site. Is this looking? Where do you find sources of the Usul Hadith course? So if you email, there's an email below, right? So it's called Learning Deen, yeah, with 2 3s instead of e's. Yeah. So if you send an email, there, it's gonna come up right about. Yeah, it's gonna come up right now. So you just keep following the ticker below. You'll see it there. So just send an email there, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome, Abid. Ahlan wa sahlan. But yeah, like I said, if you read that book, it's very, because I remember a long time ago I did a lot of research on this masala, and I came across a lot of information. And then I was thinking to myself, should I write something up? And the problem with me is I'll do a lot of reading and find out some information, but then I won't put it all together for you guys to benefit. That takes me a long time. So yeah, so those are 2 books. How was the course by Hamza Zotis? 100% I would say it was beneficial, without shakka shuba. Yeah, very bad. And I think you guys up north should call him down. Right? Call him down to deliver a similar thing, because it is really, really, really beneficial. Definitely. All right, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you have not subscribed. And I'm going to finish it there, guys. Jazakumullah khair. Without doubt, pardon the pun. Yes. That's the one. How long did it take to finish your How to Read the Quran? I haven't finished it yet. So I'm still like, I've only done how many surahs from the back. But it's going to carry on. It will take maybe, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 more years. I'm thinking. That's like obviously just a random guess. That it was an amazing course. Any book review? Oh yes, I've got a new book today. Where is it? Actually, give me a second. I'm gonna show you guys. All right, so this is the book. Yeah, so this is, mashallah, my beloved friend Maulana Sahil. Yeah, he's actually doing a master's degree in Oxford on education. So this book is very, he said to me, this book is very good for teachers, right? Understanding how to teach and different strategies. So I'll just read to you part of it from the back. He says Tom Sett developed a number of techniques which made his expert subject thinking visible to his students to great effect. Beyond his own practice, the principles behind Collins et al.'s paper have been woven throughout Huntington School in New York, where Tom Sett is a head teacher, a research school whose teachers are committed to developing evidence-informed classroom practice. So he really gave this to me because he said, because you do a lot of YouTube videos and you use different strategies to teach, and he was actually breaking down for me, like mashallah, he's breaking down for me the techniques I use of how to teach. He was telling me the names for these, so they've got coined names for these kind of techniques. The chunking method, he goes, you do a lot of chunking method where you break something, like the scaffolding method, pairing method, which is like putting two students together, and dual coding method, right? So a lot of these terms I didn't realize that I do them, but there's a name for them. And he was saying this is what they actually research. So this book is for that. It's called Cognitive Apprenticeship in Action. Yeah, Cognitive Apprenticeship in Action. So it's got like, I haven't read, I just kind of just skimmed through it. So he's got some examples of how to make slides and yeah, so let me just look at the contents page, read some things from the contents page. So for example, he says, making thinking visible in biology. So you want to explain biology to someone. How are you going to use aids, visual aids to help that? Making thinking visible in history, in music, in physics, and science. Then making thinking visible in computer science, making things in design technology, English, developing SEND students and analytical writing skills, geography, MFL, psychology. Yeah, so it's like, I mean, obviously he's not gone through Islamic sciences, but I'm sure if we can read, or if I read this book, I'm sure I can come up with ideas of how certain subjects are supposed to be taught. I've already got ideas in my head of how certain subjects should be taught, but this just gives it names and makes it more systematic. Yeah, so this is the book, guys. It's got this book today. So inshallah, guys, check this out. And mashallah, inshallah, Maulana Sahil, he's gonna be hopefully, he's actually originally from Bradford, but he moved to Oxford many years ago. He's actually an imam in the Oxford Islamic Center. So if you know him, you can, mashallah, meet him. He's a nice guy. So hopefully he's gonna be like a new upcoming guy who's gonna come out with strategies for teaching in madaris and maktabs. If there's a difference of opinion within the Hanafi madhab, can we choose which to adopt? If so, what's the best way to choose? So what I would suggest for people who are not familiar with Hanafi madhab, you simply just follow whatever you ask your scholar. So whatever you ask the Hanafi expert, whatever opinion he tells you, you follow that. Otherwise, you don't know which opinion is considered to be the stronger position. Jazakumullah khair. You're welcome, Daniel. Ahla wa sahlan. Ahla wa sahlan. You're welcome, Isra. Yeah, we should invite him up north, inshallah. Yeah, Hamza, definitely. How many years do you take to be fluent in Arabic? It all depends. I mean, I would say I could. When you say how fluent, let's say for example from 0 to 10 is fluency. Yeah, I would say, let's say 3 means you're able to hold a conversation with someone, right, and not need the aid of any extra words. I would say reaching the level 3, I did that maybe within 6 to 10 months. Yeah, 6 to 10 months. I was able to do that the first 6 to 10 months because my teachers all spoke Arabic, all books in Arabic, and all lessons were in Arabic. Yeah, and the students I was with, all day were virtually speaking Arabic. Ma'asalam, Sheikh, get some rest, inshallah. Inshallah, take care, Rahim. Maulana Sahil Qari, yes, that's the one. Qari Saab. Motivation. Ahla wa sahla. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Any plans to publish a book? If yes, what would your first? I have so many books in the pipeline. I would like to publish my Muslim on Mars novel. Yeah, fictional novel. It's called Muslim on Mars. I've actually written about 40 to 50 pages of it, but I just paused it for the past 3 or 4 years. And I've also got a book on evolution of fiqh, which I've reached for volume 3, and which is about history of fiqh and how it developed over the years. And I've also got Nahu book, yes, Nahu book as well, which is also pending. So I got loads, man. I got loads in the pipeline. I'm just not one of those finishers, like in football. You get guys who are not finishers. I'm just not a finisher in football, in writing books. That's the thing. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful week and you enjoy yourselves obviously in a halal way. And inshallah, keep an eye out for the videos that I will be uploading this week, inshallah. Right. So Mondays I usually upload learning how to read the Quran for beginners. Tuesday I upload hadith or maybe some tarkib. Wednesdays is Diwan Ali radiallahu anhu. Thursdays is Mukhtasar al-Quduri. And then Friday, Saturdays live streams. And then I also upload some other videos as well. Do you find yourself hopping from book to book or idea? Yes. That is the big illness I have. Yeah, that is a big illness, hopping from book to video, series to series. Yeah, and I was actually reading about this, and they consider this is considered to be one of the things that drains a person's focus. So developing focus, right? Right? Stretching your length of your duration of focus, your attention span. It's when you focus on one thing. But if you spread yourself thin and multitask, you lose the ability to be able to focus, right? And you lose your attention span. So that's why they did a study and they found the amount of information that you're fed, right? They did a study in the 1950s compared to the 90s compared to nowadays with TikTok and all these things. And they found people's attention span is just shrinking because they're given so much information that their brains are not used to now, like wanting to stay focused on one piece of information for too long. Ta-ra, until next time, bro. I have the same illness. Yes, my brother, touch. And I'm sure there's some big ulama in the past that had the same illness. Can we do masa and cotton socks if they are worn over khuf? As long as the wetness of the hands gets to the khuf underneath, you can. Actually, bought some new khufs this week. What I might do, I'm going to test them this week, and then next week I'll give you. Some of them were like cheap ones, like £12 one that I bought, and then one I bought for about 17-18 pound. And then I put a link up on Telegram if you guys have seen that, where I showed the deck shell ones. The deck shell ones I think are the best ones. My deck shell ones are wearing out now at the bottom, so I'm gonna have to get rid of them and get some new ones. One thing at a time. Muta'allima alaykum assalam. Ahlan wa sahlan muta'allima. Welcome. Too much Facebook posts. Are the ulama open and responsive to suggestions that change syllabus, etc., especially when it comes to... some places are. I mean, I know in Pakistan, there is now like a really big push in madaris because now they're starting this new thing where, because one of our principal who went there recently last week, and he was saying one of the things they're starting now is Islamic universities now. So that's becoming a new thing, and the government's supporting them. And so they kind of like making their syllabuses more sort of like robust. So yeah, a lot of places, especially in Pakistan, a lot of these places are considering that. But to what degree, I'm not too sure. So there are madaris in the UK, I know, 100%, who are willing to change the syllabus, adjust it. When we say change, it doesn't mean like scrap it and come out with some rubbish. No, not that. They're coming out with like it's more about the pedagogy, anything else. So especially when in so many places they are not even happy to students to stay at desk. I mean, you'd be surprised in Darul Karachi. My colleague was saying that even Hifz class now is on desks and chairs. Yeah, so Mufti Taqi Usmani's place. The real question is how to focus on one thing. If I think, see what happens is spectators, people who are not have not been to madaris, have not experienced it. They generally have negative views of madaris. That's unfortunately what happens. So when someone sees madaris from outside, and like you have this, like in Pakistan, there's like a there's sadly an audience, or there's a group of people, you can say, in Pakistan, who always have a negative image about madaris, and they have no idea what happens in them. They've never experienced it usually, but they're very sort of like critical about madaris. They should do this and they should do this and they should do this, right? Which is unfair. Obviously, if someone has been through the whole system and then they criticize it, I listen to them. But if someone hasn't been through it themselves, they just heard it through other people, and it's just because it doesn't sound right to them, and they think, oh, this is wrong. So I think that's unfair. That is. The real question is how to focus on one thing if you're studying multiple subjects. Yeah, that's why I was actually speaking to Molna Sahil about this, and he was saying that you should have um, limited subjects, like very few. And he was saying just two. But I don't know. I said that's not feasible for us. From Canada, wa alaikum assalam, ahla wa sahlan, Canada. Yes, to review some khufs, inshallah I will. Do you think no doubts should be taught in maktab for older students? I think they should design one for them. Definitely, they should tailor one for teenagers. What about sealskins? Sealskins company, I haven't really tried them. So sealskins doesn't mean the animal seal. It's just a company name, right? Sealskin company. Um, if you want, I will buy a pair of sealskin company socks, and I will try them, inshallah. There's many companies out there now. How to tackle atheism? Definitely. Is kickboxing halal? I would say if it's at a professional level where a person is hitting someone in the face, then that would not be allowed. But if they're not in the face and it's just training, then I wouldn't see a problem. May I get email? I want to ask some questions. Yes, the email should be at the bottom here. Yeah, so the email should be coming up soon. It's learningdean at gmail.com. Yeah, so there it is. There you go. Can you see it? Learningdean. That's the email. Two subjects. You mean two subjects? Two subjects you study. And I said to him, well, that doesn't work in schools, because he's in Oxford University, and they're like considered to be one of the elite universities of the world. And he was saying that basically that's the problem in school systems. There's too many subjects. Jazakallah khair, you're welcome. Sheikh, how did you come to the conclusion fades are permissible? Because there's no evidence to say they're not permissible. So if we all feel that way the madaris aren't doing a good job of training themselves as good reputable institutions. So so see again, so how many madaris do you know that have you had first-hand experience with? It's not like I'm not in a offensive way, but how many do you know really? Be honest. You hear it from other people, isn't it? That's the same, for example, like if someone hears about, I don't know, masjids, or someone hears about something else, some other organization. Yeah. The same. It's the same kind of thing. Yeah, it's the same. To me, it's the same thing. Here's about doctors. People say, "Oh, doctors don't care. NHS doctors don't care. They have no care about you. You phone them up, they'll say to you, "Oh, this is nothing. Just take paracetamol." Yeah, and if you start saying, NHS is rubbish, doctors in the NHS are rubbish, those hardworking NHS doctors who are trying their best, if you kind of know them personally, you know that they're doing a good job, right? And there are other things at play, for example, like the government in the UK that's playing a role, and there's other funding, right? No funding. Same thing in Pakistan, madaris. Funding is a big thing, right? There's no government funding for the madaris, to my knowledge. It's all free imagine this, free education. Imagine you have free education in every single university, every single college, that's what they're building in Pakistan. Free university they're going to have, Islamic universities, where you're going to be studying, software engineering, you're going to be studying accountancy, studying free of charge. So you have to understand what the challenges these people are facing before criticizing, I would say. Sheikh Muhammad al-Sharif, rahimahullah, said he just does his top two things for the day, rest of the day free, and you end up doing a lot more. I think that's a good idea, that's a very good thing. Is lining, shaping up the beard allowed as long as it does not go into the Yeah, so basically, as long as the jaw area, the hair that grows on the jaw, as long as you leave that alone. Right, what's above, what's below should be okay. Haydar Ali wa alaikum assalam. Regarding women's eyebrows, how close to the eyebrows can one go? What are the rulings? How close to the eyebrows can one go? So basically, as long as you don't thin them, you're just making them presentable, and in the middle you can remove all that. That should be fine. Anyway, guys, I am gonna go now. Thank you very much for the wonderful evening. As you guys, as usual, you guys are very wonderful people. May Allah bless all of you guys. And inshallah, I will see you guys next time. Hit the like, subscribe button, share my videos with others, and keep yourselves warm as well. Weather's going to be cold. Mufti, would you ever come to the university in London to give a talk? Why not? Inshallah. Inshallah. I bought this wudu socks that has a fatwa from Darul Uloom Karachi saying they're okay, but I put them on water on my foot. Felt cold, but then when I touched them, they weren't wet. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's okay. So the water issue, they say basically, if you wet your hand and you rub and you put water over the top of the sock, like for example, let me show you guys. These socks are Masa socks I've got on here. Yeah. So these are actually Dexel socks. So if I wipe wet hand on these, yeah, I don't feel the wetness. So that's what the Hanafis say. If you can't feel the wetness when you touch them, so that would only happen if the socks are very thin. Does that make sense? So if you can't feel the wetness on top, right, as soon as you touch it, it doesn't immediately permeate to the skin of the foot, then they're fine to wear. But if it immediately permeates, then you can't. Right, guys. These are called Dex Shell Company. It's a company called Dex Shell. So if you check out on my Telegram, I actually put some of these socks up recently. I put a link to their website. Yeah, so a link was there to the website. Dex Shell. I actually put. I'll put a link up. Let me just see if I can find that link. Can I find the link? Oh, by the way, you guys have seen that. You guys have seen that the little form I did for those who want to go into the research thing. Yeah. So Jazakallah, I've received names. Inshallah, I'm just gonna wait for a few more days and then I'll let those people who I'm gonna select know who's gonna be doing it, inshallah. Okay, so here's the and that's these are the ones. Yeah, so this is the company. And these socks, I mean, I would say they're fine to use. They're a bit expensive. I mean, cheapest ones are like about £17. But the quality, like they will last. That's a good thing about them. And they're thin. That's what they're like, thin enough you can wear them with your shoes, and they don't feel too sort of intrusive. Yeah, too like kind of difficult to walk around in. Okay, guys, take care. Assalamu alaikum.